Riddle me this, dear wrestling fan. At the start of this week's episode of SmackDown, we saw the Street Profits walking into the building. Because they were going to face the Wyatts later, we got all the weird glitches and the QR code. So what is the law here? Is it like the Wyatts do have spooky powers and they're using magic, or are they just stuck by the production truck going, this is really fun? I would like someone to tell me I'm a big nerd. I think it's also important to point out that Randy Orton found Jelly Roll, multi-international platinum artist. I've just made that up, but he is a music star. Man, I'm so happy to see you. Because yes, that was going to tie in. Also, my friends, welcome to Ups and Downs, the only wrestling review show you need. And what I am going to ask of you today is just to go and share this with everyone. Because there's too much negativity on the internet right now. People get really mad about creative control, even though Tony Storm explained with some Dynamite, one day we are going to die, so I wouldn't worry about it. And also, two, I have real problems, like genuine real problems. I don't care. I don't think anybody in wrestling does have creative control, but even if they do, good for them. I just hope they book good shows. Enough of that, let's up those downs. And then I then kicked off SmackDown, and yes, he got a mega pop, so I think they're going to be with him for life. He was like, Seth Rollins and his stupid new Goober crew. I mean, he's like the news of the past or the news of yesterday. Nobody cares. And the two people that walk around with him, they're just a couple of idiots. Well, no, he said Slophouse Bronson Reed, I think brain dead idiot, for Bron Breakker. And he started to imitate Bron with the weird head things. Not going to lie, it was quite funny. It just goes to show that Rollins knew he couldn't injure LA Knight, which is why he did employ these goofs. He then started talking about predictions and spoilers because he had kicked off his promo with those Paul Heyman words. That was the whole point. He was like, screw all of that, because what's going to happen, Seth Rollins, is that Saturday night's main event when we do fight, I'm going to kick your ass. That's just a fact of life. Now, I don't think that's true. Like they don't teach it in science. He then called himself the spoiler, so if you haven't seen Superman yet, do not go near LA Knight. When Paul Heyman came out, he basically went, LA Knight, you think that we're the fool, but you're the fool, and also, all these fans are fools, please boo me. He also wanted to remind us that he is now called the Oracle because he can see the future, even though it makes him sound like something from Narnia. And the whole point is that Seth Rollins and his two friends are going to be the future, whereas LA Knight, he has no future at all. Now, sorry, that's absolutely a death threat, because even if he retired from wrestling, I like to think that LA Knight would, I don't know, run a nice little bakery. Paul Heyman's saying he's going to be dead. From nowhere, Sikoa and his MFTs just walked out, so I think they were bored. Although they were like, oh, hi, look who it is, Paul Heyman. If you don't run away right now, we're going to throw you out of the announce table, as we did a year ago. And bless this Paul Heyman, he just ran away when Solo made it very clear the tribal chief is dead, the bloodline is dead. We're a brand new group, which I guess is Solo Sikoa and his MFTs, which sounds like a band from 1962. Solo then wanted to yell at LA Knight too, because do you remember who beat you at WrestleMania for the US Championship? It was Jacob Fatu, and I just took out that guy. So I guess he was using wrestling maths here to basically tell LA Knight, if you don't leave the ring, we're going to absolutely kick your ass. LA Knight pretended he was going to do it when he didn't, but thankfully, Jimmy Uso had become Batman, he ran and he had a chair, they chased everybody away when these two stood tall. Now that kind of ties in because from nowhere this week we just learned at SNME later, it is going to be Jimbo versus Solo for the US Championship when Nick Aldis came out, and as always he was like, listen, I didn't book a show before we began, but that's fine. I need a main event. So LA Knight, you're going to team with Jim, and you're going to take on Solo Sikoa and JC Mateo. Thanks for having a fight. So it kind of feels like LA Knight may be going back into the US title picture after Saturday night's main event, but either way, just love how LA Knight is approaching this feud with Seth Rollins. I mean, some people describe it as kind of like a distraction, I suppose, until we do get to SummerSlam, but La is like, nope, I'm going to treat it like it is life and death. According to Paul Heyman, it is. Solo Sikoa has just come into his own right now too because he's so entertaining, though I probably still will call them the Bloodline 2.0. But Tala Tonga, or Tall Tonga, he probably needs to say something, or Solo needs to say something about him soon, because at the moment he just walk around, but I am going to give it an up. They just try hard, man. And when people put the effort in, you feel it in your tum-tum. I do think that LA Knight will lose to Seth Rollins later though, so that will be intriguing. When Alexa Bliss found Charlotte Flair, she's like, listen, because we've got a tag team match at Evolution, WWE's done that thing when they've taken one person from every team, and now we've got to have a fatal four-way. Now, given that everybody else is going to have a friend, I would like you to be my friend too. She was like, not friend, ally of convenience. They even have shirts now that says, we're not friends, we're allies of convenience. So that's good. The next time you don't want to go to a party, just turn up, ding dong, point at the shirt, and then go goodbye. Now, Charlotte didn't want to be no cheerleader, and then Alexa Bliss said, well, actually, you'd be a terrible cheerleader. When Charlotte was like, actually, I'd be a good cheerleader for myself. And I gotta tell you, I don't know who came up with this pairing, but they are a delight. I'm going to speak like I am their grandma, but they just work, and because they don't have to worry about World Championship right now, they can just have a bit of fun. I like it. So then, yes, Bliss did walk to the ring to take on Kairi, Sane, Roxanne, Perez, and Ruca, and Zarya, like I said, were out there too. And that's just where I'm going to give it a down. Now listen, Ruca was amazing during this, so she has done herself all the favors, but this Evolution build, which I am going to complain a couple of times during this ups and downs, it just comes so fast. When someone does get moved to NXT, you should have videos, you should have hype packages. She was just in the ring. She didn't even get an entrance, and because I can be a geek, I'm giving it a down. But yeah, otherwise, in this match, clearly somebody has said you have to make Ruca look amazing. That's exactly what she did. She also did that amazing handstand spring dive she does. So yep, dive 2025. There's the counter, it goes up by 1. And I massively regret doing this. And even Charlotte Flair was having a pull on the outside. She reacted like she'd seen a ghost. Kairi then stopped Soul in the corner when Roxanne and Kairi realized, oh my gosh, we can team up to do double team moves, because it is a 4-way. That was a terrible idea. Because Soul was like, we can do that on the main roster too. And she hit this double Soul Snatcher. It is the most ridiculously stupid move I've ever seen in my life, but it's also brilliant. I hope we do get it over like Rover. Well, it already is. Tell you right now, a big fan of Ruca. The dick board also goes up by 1 though, because Soul was going to win here, when of course Raquel Rodriguez was on the outside, grabbed Roxanne's foot and put it on the ropes. So now I guess that kind of gives something Ruca to talk about. Although actually, the speed to Evolution has been so fast, we'll probably never talk about it again. Of course, all the friends on the outside then started to fight because they couldn't believe this. When Kairi Sane was going to go for the insane elbow, and then think she got a little bit wibbly wobbly, so Alexa Bliss grabbed her, gave her the Sister Abigail DDT. She got the 1, 2, 3. That rhymes, it must be true. That actually got a big pop, so there you go, it is working. And it also probably means Charlotte and Alexa will not win at Evolution, but that's fine, because they just shouldn't lose, because there's other teams that can take the pin. Then at SummerSlam, you can do Raquel and Roxy taking on these two. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss should probably win. Thank you, please. I like this. It was just fun. Didn't have to worry about it. The good vibes then really did massively continue. Well, that was a bit surprising we didn't say this was SummerSlam or Saturday Night's main event, but essentially it was the Street Profits taking on the Wyatts for those tag team titles, and the Wyatt 6-1. And they kind of won by going heels. If we just step away from the wrestling ring at the moment and remember why this team was born in the first place, well, it will make you feel something deep down in your Tootsie Toes. Montez Ford also mocked Dexter Lumis at one point. So surprise, surprise, he got totally beaten up. How many times do I have to tell you people? And actually, Dexter Lumis was going for a superplex, and Montez Ford turned it around, and he made this tag to Angelo Dawkins, who went absolutely crazy, did this awesome senton. I tell you, I don't think we talk about the Street Profits enough. They are a pretty flipping good tag team. He also did a massive dive, so put a 1 on it, dive 2025 board, whatever the flub we're calling it, when all of a sudden we did get a bunch of double team moves, and the Street Profits did hit their blockbuster here, which as the commentary team told us, oh my gosh, that's put loads of people away, but not here, it was a 1-2-0. Sadly though, we do have to go back to the dick board, and it was fine in the first match, because again, Raquel Rodriguez tried to interfere, but it didn't work, and a babyface still won, though it was a different babyface, but at least the heels weren't successful, but Eric Rowan just went, nope, I don't like what Angelo Dawkins is doing, so he just wrecked him and threw him into the announce table. And while the referee was distracted, I was a bit like, dude, you're taking your time, turn around. It also meant that Montez totally flaked on his Splash of the Frogs. Again, he was confused. That's what this whole board is about. Where Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy hit their neck breaker powerbomb thing, whatever it may be, and they did get the 1, 2, 3, and I can't lie. Even though this was art shenanigans, it was like it's pretty good all things considered. And the SmackDown tag team division in general has so much depth. So I like this. They don't have to hold it for 4,722 days. They probably will lose it at SummerSlam. So I am going to give it an up. I just thought it was nice. Sometimes nice is nice. But yes, there is a down in here as well, because that is 2 big old multi-person matches kind of back-to-back, where somebody had to do something on the outside. We can just do different things here. Again, it wasn't so bad on SmackDown, because in that first one, the bad guys weren't able to win. WWE just seems to use it like a crutch. We then zoom backstage here, and all the other tag teams were arguing like children, like we really want to face the Wyatt 6, apart from Drake Gargano, who is still terrified. When Andrade and Phoenix had decided, you know when we should announce that we're officially in this division? Right now. It's totally mad. The Raw division is desperate for teams, SmackDown is overflowing with them. You'd have to imagine the draft is soon, otherwise this balance is nuts. We then got into all the rumours that have been going around the place this week, and yes, it certainly does seem like come SummerSlam, Hot WrestleMania, Jelly Roll is going to be in a match. You know what, why not? I'm never going to begrudge anybody an opportunity. It's not really my bag, but nor should it be. Wrestling isn't just for me. He was doing a full-on concert as well, and actually he was doing quite a good job. I was enjoying this song. Somebody was always going to interrupt it. It was Logan Paul. And I will say bravo to WWE what they did here, because Logan was all like, nobody wants to see you outsiders trying to steal this WWE superstar clout. They want to watch us amazing performers in the ring. I already saw some people on social media going, oh, can't believe Logan Paul said that. What a hypocrite. You know what? Don't even worry about it. Go get mad. He then got really quite low because he said, I also don't like people that have tattoos of their children they don't even have custody over. So, man, that is turning up the temperature. When I think Logan Paul also announced his Impulsive podcast has been signed with WWE or something, but thankfully Jelly, can I call you Jelly, didn't care about that, and he was like, no one cares about all your baloney. We're in my hometown. Everybody only cares about me. Now, the absolute funniest part here is that just as they were about to get into it, Randy Orton walked out, and Randy Orton has never been this mad in his entire life. Think of all the things he's seen, all the terrible things that Logan Paul has done since he has debuted. But if you insult Jelly Roll, Randy Orton will go off on you. He got right in Logan Paul's face. He was just shouting, everybody goes out of their way to make you look good, and you don't appreciate it, which also is kind of breaking the fourth wall when it got even more nuts, because Randy turned around and Drew McIntyre claymored him right in the face. Logan then took advantage of this as well because he started punching Randy Orton when Jelly Roll realized, oh my gosh, I can be a wrestler now, and he grabbed Paul and threw him across the ring. And look, credit where credit is due, it actually looked pretty damn good. Paul was then so mad he went to destroy some instruments, which is what you would do when we also had a backstage skit where Randy Orton and Jelly Roll were just having the biggest loving you'd ever seen. And now, because of everything that has happened, Jelly Roll is going to be in Randy Orton's corner for his Drew McIntyre match at Saturday night's main event, just in case Logan Paul tries to do something. Looked around my house and I was like, we are not in Kansas anymore, Toto. Now actually I think there may be a bit of genius here, even though it's also total nonsense at the same time. But I think Drew McIntyre needs to win later just because he only has come back, and also it helps turn Randy Orton heel. I keep losing all of the time. But that probably means they have a rematch at SummerSlam, and if it is going to be Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul taking on Jelly Roll and Randy Orton, you could probably have Drew McIntyre's team lose there, so at least Randy Orton has something. And again, you'll be screaming at your YouTube screen now, Simon, that sounds absolutely terrible, and it does, but as a way to ensure you're kind of protected your major stars, I actually think it's kind of well thought out in a 2025 world. I mean, mostly I'm going to have to see it play out on TV. But they did make it work, Logan Paul and Jelly Roll. I was actually far more into it than I thought I was going to. I don't really need to see them fight at SummerSlam. I doubt they'll do a singles match, but you don't know. But I'm going to give it an up. This ties into what I always tell you about ups and downs when people think the ups and the downs are predetermined. No, they are not. I go with my gut. If I was predetermining ups and downs, I would have given this a down. But it was entertaining. Randy Orton was just tremendous. He made me laugh out loud. I then had joy in my heart after this because it was Aleister Black versus Ron Killings, and I love the fact we are treating R-Truth as a serious guy. He entertained us for years and sometimes was put in quite goofy positions. So to see him get his serious edge now on Adam Copeland, he went to AEW. Well, I'm just going to repeat what I just said. Joy in my heart. Aleister Black then did a leg sweep because he loves the Karate Kid, although actually when he went to Do or Die 2025, I think somebody had clued up Ron Killings about our board because he cut him off. So now thankfully we don't have to go back to it. But then R-Truth kind of went mad and he got a chair. Now Black was able to stop him with a kick when he decided, well, if it is a weapon in the ring, I'm going to use it. He actually swung for Ron Killings, but the referee stopped him, which apparently isn't a disqualification. Meaning if you had a gun, as long as you fire around your opponent, you'll be totally fine. But Aleister was so mad, he looked at the official when R-Truth was like, I'm a tenured veteran, and he used the most devastating move. In all the sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up, and he got the 1, 2, 3, and he beat Aleister Black. I jumped off my chair. Now, yes, this was super quick, but I do think it's tying into something else, because afterwards, Black was backstage losing his mind. When Damian Priest was like, listen, it's over now, you tried, it doesn't matter, it was a bunch of shenanigans. Aleister's like, yeah, you're right. And he walked away when he ran in, and he kneed Damian Priest right in the face, and he gave him the Black Mass. Damian Priest acted like he was dead. Now, this is kind of interesting, because a few weeks ago, Damian Priest talked about the US title, and it feels like we've gone away from that. Carmelo Hayes still isn't here, and at one point it was going to be these 4 guys, but I'm still intrigued about where it's going, so something is working for me here. I guess it will be Damian Priest versus Aleister Black at SummerSlam, but then what does Ron Killings do? Could be a triple threat match, I do not know, but I'm giving it an up. I think I just like these 3 guys to such a degree, I want to see what they are going to do. Sometimes that is the secret sauce. Hey, I'm going to give this Evolution build another down though, because I got a bee in my bonnet about this. Because we did the first proper promo off between Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus, and not only was it in fast forward, it went for like 3 minutes, but Wade Barrett was in the ring, and I think Wade Barrett does a great job, but he was like Mr. Exposition. It's like, let me explain everything, because we haven't had any other time on any other show to do it. Now, Tiffany has decided the reason she needs to beat Trish Stratus is because she beat Charlotte, she beat Bayley, and she beat Nia Jax, so if she's able to do away with Trish, she becomes an all-time great. I did not know that's the path you had to tread. So somebody better call John Cena and say, John, you got like 12 dates left. You're gonna have to fight all of these women, otherwise you ain't no GOAT. Trish totally disagrees because she helped build this division and all the pressure is on Tiffy's shoulders. And at the end of the day, she's still gonna walk away with the World Championship and become an 8-time champion. And then like Tiffany Stratton said some things that kind of sounded heelish. And I was like, this thing doesn't make any sense. But the best part was actually Naomi then walked out and just went crazy, like, don't forget who's got the briefcase. When Jade Cargill, my new best friend, also ran out and totally murked her. These two have a way better build on social media. Naomi was threatening to quite literally explode Jade with dynamite, and that made me chuckle for about 3 days. So I don't get any of this. If nothing else, actually, you can say it's unfair that Naomi and Jade Cargill weren't given a bigger slot either, and don't come to me and say, oh, sorry, but you didn't want SmackDown to be 3 hours anymore. The same thing was happening then. So yeah, I'm standing by my down. There was nothing wrong with this when it was going on. Again, Naomi and Jade are great together, but I just do not think we are dedicating enough time to these people. And Evolution is happening tomorrow, man. Shrug emoji. We then got to our main event, and I can't lie, I was pretty pleased that the Not Bloodline were in this position for the second time, because it just helps them feel like a big deal, and it was Solo Sikoa and JC Mateo taking on Jimmy Uso and LA Knight. And the only problem with this is that Jimmy Uso got the pin, which actually should have been done last week to justify why we were doing the Saturday Night's main event. But what you gonna do, Electric Boogaloo? The other concern is that when JC Mateo got in there, he was basically murked by Jimmy, who gave him a Samoan drop, and he is Samoan. And eventually the former Jeff Cobb was able to get some licks in there, but I kind of feel like he should be presented more as a monster, and at the moment he's more of Solo Sikoa's lackey. And he can be Solo Sikoa's lackey, but he's sort of also being beaten up like he's Solo Sikoa's lackey. I don't know what we're talking about. Thankfully then something sparked in his brain and he did do his own Samoa drop on Alan the announce table, so that was good. When eventually LA Knight got the hot tag, once again this place exploded, and man did he go wild. I don't know what's happened to this man over the last few weeks, but he's got pep in his step. He hit all those elbows, which he loves to do when Jimbo got the tag and hit his elbow, but of course Solo Sikoa broke that up. He then dragged JC Mateo over to his corner. He got the tag, he went for the spike. When that didn't work, he hit Jimmy instead with the spinning solo, 1-2-0. And LA then soon got involved because he couldn't help himself, and this is when everybody was on the outside, and they looked towards Timmy the Timekeeper's cable, and do you know who was being a little bit of a stalker and a little bit of a weirdo? It was Paul Heyman, and he was also on his telephone device. Talatonga loved all of that though, because he then absolutely murdered LA Knight with this big boot. But Solo Sikoa didn't know what was going on because of the dick board, bam, put it on there. When Jimmy Uso hit the most devastating move in all sports entertainment, surprise roll up, and he got the 1-2-3, and it's getting it down. That's right, you don't need to do 2 surprise roll-ups on the same show, especially when a dick is involved. Man, I so regret doing it. Why am I such a child? But again, Jimmy Uso pins Solo Sikoa. That justifies the match that was already set up. I don't really get that one. It feels like something was missed. LA Knight still took out Solo Sikoa with the BFT because flub that guy when Bronson hit the ring. And of course, this is the people that Heyman had rang up. They hit all of their finishers when the useless wrestling security did run out there. That's like, dudes, you're totally late. LA Knight is absolutely dead. The show went off air with the bad guy standing tall. So this was fine. It was mostly there to get Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso up and running, which it did do. And I suppose you can kind of pretend that maybe, just maybe, LA Knight is going to beat Seth Rollins because he was on his ass here, and I wouldn't mind that at all, but personally I can't see it. But I will give it an up. I mean, WWE were trying to build 2 shows during this episode of SmackDown because we have officially arrived at the weekend of hell. I'm going to try and cover all of it but maybe I'll die. But I am going to give the show overall an up, even though it was very wibbly-wobbly, because don't forget SmackDown is in 3 weeks too, so just think we're trying to serve too many masters, but there were certainly some highlights on it. But more importantly, please do let me know what you thought about SmackDown in the comments below. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is ups and downs for Raw, so you can enjoy some positive wrestling content. And again, that doesn't mean liking everything. It just means not shouting at people like a madman because something you didn't like happened. I mean, imagine the arrogance of that. See you about 42 times this weekend, my friends. And remember that every time we do lock eyes, I am massively in love with you.